Cofield and Company, late night happy hour. Welcome in, Steve. We haven't had Allie and I together in like a month.
It's been a little while,
right? I feel like it had. I felt last week it was you two, right?
Yeah.
The week before that, it was you and I, and the week before that, it was. I think it was you and her. I think we just keep trading off. It's literally Cofield and partner.
Yes. Yeah, she's busy. You guys are busy.
It's good to be back.
It's good to have you back. It's good to have you back. I was actually going to open with like a big dramatic opening because I saw. Well, one, I have to tell the audience. I just spent the last 2 hours killing time by. I think this is a new channel, but I found SiriusXM has a boy band channel now. Oh boy! So we just sat there. You know what? I think it's. I don't even think it's on like regular SiriusXM. It's just a digital side. You know, if you have a subscription, so or online, whatever. It just you just look up boy band. It's a boy band channel. So.
Well, you know what? I don't have SiriusXM, but I'm a big fan of like when you get a rental car, you borrow someone's car that has it. I don't personally have it, but I like the names of the channels. Like I like the creativity. You know, I like the different names.
Hair Nation.
Yeah, I was just about to say Hair Nation. Octane.
Octane. Yep.
What studio? I think Studio 54 is the disco one.
Good channel.
I'm a big fan of the 70s on 7.
80s on 8, 90s on 9. It's creative.
Sirius XM Fly is a good one, like late 90s, early 2000s hip hop.
That's freaking awesome. Totally. I don't know where I was going with the boy band channel. Oh, you know what it was? I saw the picture. So a song by One Direction came on, and that was the exact moment that I saw a tweet with you and I think Howard and some other dude looking fly as hell before a high school something. You guys are all, you got the arms crossed. You look very badass.
Yes.
I was like, this is perfect with One Direction. So I'll have to work on that for down the road. Where the hell was that?
That was, that was a great photo. You know what's great about that is that, not that exact photo, but a similar one, actually made it in to this Friday, even though it's COVID or whatnot. They're doing like programs, and they've been allowing more fans in the stands at the high school games. Like that picture, to rewind, that picture was taken last Friday. Boom.
That shit.
Swaggy.
Come on, focus, you prick. Anyway, where'd you get that suit? Is that? Do we comment on that? Was that a suit you wore in the last time?
No, I had been saving that suit for Friday's game.
Wow.
Friday's game was the big game. It was the Battle of the Bay. It was the rivalry game between Newport Harbor and Corona Del Mar high schools, which is like, especially there's no playoffs with COVID for football. There's no playoffs. This was sort of like the de facto championship game. This was the big game. You know, this was the game everyone had circled. So I've been saving that 3-piece suit, which I got at this is very Portland. When I lived in Portland, I got it at a vintage suit store. They just specialized in vintage suits. I got it there.
Get out of here.
Yeah,
wait, are they new vintage suits or are they secondhand suits?
They're secondhand, but they're in like perfect condition. Like, really? I don't know if they refurbish them or if they just only take top quality, but they sell like mint condition vintage suits. It was an amazing store. Like they were like, you know, a few $100. They're not like cheap.
No way. I was going to say it's not. This isn't like some cheapy.
No. No, these are like nice, like as good as new, pretty much vintage suits. I don't know how they collected them, but you know, I indulged. I had a couple from there. I have a couple that I wear. But that game, that was the Battle of the Bay, and actually I'm really bad at estimating crowd size numbers, but there was a lot of people in attendance.
Really?
The high school stadium holds 5,500, and I would say, I don't know, it seemed to almost a quarter full.
Damn.
But I mean, people were masked. Like I think it was fine. It's outside. I think it was fine, but there was a lot of people there. I say all that to say, this Friday is the last home game, only a 6-game season, and that photo of Howard and I made it in the program. They cropped the third guy out, and they put Howard and I in the program.
Who's the guy on the your right in the picture?
That is a friend of mine from high school named Brooks, and he hosted our pregame and postgame show and did sideline reporting for us.
That's quite the corduroy jacket he's got on, or is it straight? Is it straight suede?
I think it was corduroy, and I think it had the arm patches. I can't tell by that angle, but I think it did.
That is great.
Yeah, they showed me I'm so stoked. Like we get it's a full page spread in the program for Friday.
The vest and everything. Hubba hubba. Take it easy. Hey, Ricky's talking about serious with the Howard and Bubba Love. The Bubba the Love Sponge were great. Yeah, it's been a little while.
I like Sirius XM. I don't like it enough to invest. It's not a big investment, but I don't like it enough to get it in my car. But I do like it when I have it. You know.
It's solid. So I like some of the sports channels too. So I talk about it all the time on terrestrial. I'm like, yeah, I was riding in, listening to this or that. So I've got a couple shows I like to listen to. I was listening to the college channel yesterday. No, that was today actually. And Brock Eward was on there, and he was given an earful to Gonzaga. So I couldn't help but think as a Washington guy that he enjoyed shitting on Gonzaga because the Huskies have been so bad at basketball. It has to, for Pac-12 fans, Washington fans specifically, and even Washington State to a certain extent, it's got to fucking drive them nuts that the school in Spokane has become this national power. It is absurd. Like I remember growing up, and Seton Hall, was in the Big East. Rutgers was not. They turned down the Big East twice, which was an epic disaster. Like killed them for 25 years, and I got to watch stupid Seton Hall, crap school in freaking South Orange, New Jersey, going to the national final. Drove me nuts. So I can only imagine. Washington's a big school, right? I mean, that's a gigantic school, and to see freaking Gonzaga having this much success and their basketball team blows. Ugh.
Yeah, and Washington's been one of the better teams in the pack. Like over the past 20, 25 years, I feel like they've had top talent.
Well, they had a lot of Lorenzo Romar. They kind of underachieved at times, but they had a lot of pros, a lot of guys who were one and done go through the program. So, and now Hopkins, the dude from Syracuse, who was Boeheim's coach in waiting, I mean, he was doing okay, and then everything just fell apart the last couple of years. So, oh well, they know what they're doing at Gonzaga. So now that's a national brand. It's crazy.
Yeah, it's also, adding insult to injury, they play in the WCC. It's like a joke, And I am a major echo over here.
All right.
No, it's gone now. I think it's gone now. But yeah, they play the WCC. They play with like Pepperdine and University of Portland.
Did you watch the rest of the tournament, or did you bail after Oregon State was out?
I watched the UCLA Gonzaga game. I'm very thankful I earmarked that one. I watched a little bit of Houston Baylor, but that didn't need to be watched really. I watched a little bit of SC Gonzaga, but that also didn't really need to get watched. But then Gonzaga UCLA was amazing.
Ridiculous. Yep.
That was amazing.
I texted because I had told Petro, who's on Wednesday. I told Petro, and I think I said it on ESPN Las Vegas. So I was like, yeah, I'm like, this Final Four is going to suck. The Saturday games, these semis are going to be terrible. Houston's going to just get rolled by Baylor, and that's what happened. I'm like, yeah, UCLA's not going to keep up with Gonzaga. And then oh my God, the last 3 minutes of regulation, just the back and forth and the defensive plays, and fucking Timmy's going like full Tim Duncan with the up and under moves and off the glass and everything. It was great.
Oh, it was like it was just like the perfect game. And then I don't know if it was Sunday or yesterday. The cover, maybe it even was today. The front page of the sports section in the LA Times had a cartoon of John Wooden's ghost, like anointing Mick Cronin. It was the political cartoon.
Easy.
Which is like, I think it said like job well done or something, or like, and then in the column from like Bill Plaschke or whatever was like, Wooden would have been proud of these boys. Like,
Oh,
That's how great UCLA played in that game. Was like the LA Times ran not a political cartoon, but a sports cartoon of like John Wooden's ghost looking down and like handing the keys to Mick Cronin. I'm like that. Wow, that's how good they played.
Yeah, I saw Cowherd had sent out. I think it was the LA Times, the headline, and it said "banked robbery." It's pretty good.
That's good.
Pretty cool. And it's all, what's great about college basketball is, what the emotions of Saturday to Monday, where you've got the same guy, Jalen Suggs, at the end of the Saturday game is like, hits the bank shot, is running all over the court, jumping up onto the scorer's table, celebrating. And then the image of him on Monday, you guys are one and done, right? You guys are one and done. You're like, he doesn't care. The image of for me, the image of him on Monday was after they lose, the guy, like, he could not stop crying. He looked like he needed a hug from every guy on the team and every assistant coach. I know going back to Adam Morrison, you remember him when he got freaking universally panned for crying because they lost, right? And he got all emotional. Like I've done the rant a million times, so I'm not going to do it again. I don't understand. Well, it's really guys in general, but I don't understand why, if you watch sports, you get fired up, you complain that athletes today don't care like they used to, and then a guy, I remember doing this rant, so again, I'm not going to do it repeatedly, but if you care so much about sports and you want your athletes to care, if Adam Morrison is that broken up after a loss, what's the problem? Right? Isn't that kind of cool that he's that invested in it?
I mean, I'm right there with you. I can't believe there's people that I remember when it happened. I was in high school and I loved Adam Morrison. He actually inspired me to try to grow a mustache. No, I swear on my life.
Trying to grow a mustache.
He did, and to this day, I think the reason that I like sport, I think the reason I sport what I have mustache wise can be traced back to seeing Adam Morrison when I was like a sophomore, freshman in high school. Me, like, that guy's so sick. So to your point though, Cofield, yeah, anybody that wants to criticize Adam Morrison or anybody that wants to criticize any player for showing that emotion is a hypocrite, because I know that same guy is the same guy that's like, well, it used to mean more. The players used to care more.
Yeah.
It's
like they're friends after the game, man. They're just shaking hands. It's not the way this guy's crying. He's broken up, so he wanted to win so badly. He's crying, pussy.
Yeah, exactly.
Whatever.
Be tough.
Did you hear the call with Morrison on it? Adam Morrison.
I did.
Yeah. Did everyone hear that? I'll play it once here. Let's see if everyone can hear it. Adam Morrison going ape shit. It's great.
Exercising demons.
Yeah, in a way.
Choosing the rebounds and puts it in. We're tied at 90. 3 seconds left. Here's Suggs the other way. Pull up three for the win. Yes! 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 To the championship game. He knocked out from 40 at the buzzer. Yes! The Bulldogs. Wow. Play for a national championship.
Let's see. It's a good question. Is what Cronin is paying these players on par with Wooden paid adjusted for inflation? Yeah, I don't know.
Is that true?
Which part that Wooden was funded?
Yeah, is that true?
Oh yeah. The UCLA, even the players bragged about the main benefactor of the program. There was a guy who was around there for at least 20 years who kind of took care of guys, and it's part of the reason that they were an elite program. UCLA was an established program, a national level program in the 60s, but Lou Alcindor playing in, Power Memorial in New York City, it's a pretty long trip. You know what I mean? So they were able to scoop up a lot of players. But here's the thing. Lots of programs were doing it back then. So, I don't know. If you heard constantly that, Wooden was honorable and he wasn't doing it, then that's kind of ridiculous. But that's the way the game was played. And I've told you a million times, now that's the way the game is played. I think now it not only the aggressive funding of programs, I'll put it that way, not only applies to freshmen, but I think it's extended to transfers as well. Because that's kind of the new market for a lot of programs for a quick fix. And folks should look around and see. I've been making the point, I think I made it on the air. There are some coaches out there who had pretty crappy seasons, pretty disappointing seasons. And man, I can only imagine the conversations they had with their assistants and people around the program. Like, I'm not doing this again. So we are doing whatever is necessary to get top-level recruits and hit the transfer portal and win those battles. So if you'll notice so far, some of the best classes have gone to Duke. Syracuse has come out of the gates on fire with transfers, and Maryland hit a couple of home runs. So, especially for legendary guys like Boeheim and Coach K, they're like, I don't have much time left. So are we doing this or not? Let's go let's go get some players.
Those guys, Coach K is a dirty coach to me. I'm not saying I dislike him, but those guys are getting bags. Like, those guys are getting money. I'm not a huge. Allie's not here.
Allegedly.
Okay, so I don't have any proof of that, but I know for a fact.
Don't say that.
Okay.
You don't know anything for a fact.
Okay.
No lawsuits. We're not getting Paul pierced here because you mentioned Rachel Nichols or some coach.
I'm not going to say names. I'm not going to say names. I'm just going to say, like, I have. Okay. I don't know for a fact. You're right, Cofield, because I haven't handed the person the bag myself. You're right. But I have on very good, what's the word I'm looking for? I heard from a very good source. I have from sources that in high school football in Southern California, kids are getting big paydays. Kids and their families are getting big paydays.
And you're saying that's just to play high school.
And that's just to play high school football in California. I also have on good from good sources that the bag man is still alive and well in the SEC, in the Big Ten, not so much in the Pac-12 for college football. For college football, so if that's happening, then without a doubt, and I was just saying this is what I know. This isn't reports that I've read. This is conversations I've had with people that I trust. I know if I'm hearing that about high school and college football, then without a doubt it's happening at Duke and Syracuse. Without a doubt it's happening at Kentucky and Louisville. No doubt in my mind.
Don't know for a fact, but yes. To play the game to win these battles, it's an interesting game on the trail, and I think there's a lot of people who assume that the transfer market, well, that's different. It's my guess is it's probably as competitive or worse because these are guys who can save your program. These guys who are 2 and 3 year players. You already know what you're getting, and there's still a little bit of doubt around most high school recruits, and a lot of them are one and done. At least if you're bringing in a guy who's getting a second chance guy from another school, he's there for good. But players keep bouncing around, so players could wind up at 5 different stops. It actually, it's kind of amazing how things have changed where players, I guess, are so cool going to 3 or 4 different schools. And I wonder if that's is that an upbringing thing now that the people are more transient? Don't you think going from college to college, no one really processes this now when they talk about the transfer portal? I would think it's kind of a big deal to be you're at this school and then, you've got to make sure that all of your stuff gets, I guess the basketball program takes care of it, but I would think it would be kind of, a big deal that you're in your 3rd school, you're actually trying to get a degree, or am I a fool for thinking that a lot of these players care about their degree?
I don't know. This makes me feel old, but but moving sucks, dude. Moving is a pain in the ass.
Yep.
3 times? Are you kidding me? No, and I know it gets taken care of. And I know clearly, they have the hoop dream of getting to the NBA, and it's the same reason you see guys at 2 different JUCOs, and then at college, and then. Everyone wants to be. Now, I'm not saying everyone wants to be Chad Johnson, but Chad Johnson went from he was supposed to go to Carroll College and got I think he got kicked out before he even enrolled in classes. Then he went to, I believe it was Santa Monica College, and then he went to Oregon State, and then he went to the league and I don't even think he ever went to classes at Oregon State, and then he went to the league and became Chad Johnson. I think everyone still kind of got that sort of a dream,
Yeah, I think we just hit on the point that. They're the elite athletes. A lot of them wind up going to 2 and 3 high schools. So what would be the big deal about going to 3 different colleges? Like it's not that much. It's not that much of a shock to the system. Like I mean, when you're in school, can you imagine just like year 2, you're like, I'm out. I'm going somewhere else. I'm at Oregon State. I'm working on my education. Now I'm going to go to New Mexico. Like what? Really?
No, I know that. No,
and then I'm gonna finish up at University of Houston. Like, okay, shock to the system. I guess not.
Hey, well, you brought up a good point. How's my mic sound, by the way, Cofield?
You sound distant. It might not be on. It might not be on the line in, whatever the setting is. I know we always forget to check that thing, or the right microphone. Thank God.
I switched cameras on accident, not mics. Hold on.
I just expected it.
Hold on.
Yeah, Miller J's like it's awful. Getting all over you about the quality.
How is it now?
That's
is that better?
Yeah, it's 1,000,000% better. Yes.
There we go. Sorry, guys.
But now your video might not match your audio, but I think the audio is more important. But let's see if people get freaked out. Miller J, your standards are very high. What do you?
I'm so, dude.
AJ's like blue special on the mic. What are you doing here, AJ? This is the worst day of the week, isn't it? It's the worst day of the week for the podcast. AJ's always complaining.
I'm sorry, AJ. I'm sorry to be the weak link, Cofield.
I mean, Carvelli will come over the top, and I don't know if he's in here tonight, but he loves you guys. So
Carvelli will throw down, bro.
He'll fight.
Carvelli will fight for us. What I was going to say before that is what does blow my mind is the multiple high school kids. Yeah. The idea of switching high schools in a region is kind of crazy to me. I still don't quite get it, but it is the culture. It is the culture. So many kids are going to 2 for at least for football and hoops, and maybe for other sports, but for football and hoops especially, it's like I don't know. It's just interesting when you look at things through the athletic lens, because now I'm just thinking about soccer. A lot of places, if you're a really good soccer player, you don't even play for your high school team. You just play for club because that's the culture of soccer.
By the way, this is also very white and middle class of us to be like, I can't believe guys are switching schools left and right. That's the way a lot of kids grow up.
No, that's true.
You have a freaking different apartment every year. You have to bounce around. It's a matter of survival for your parent or your 2 parents. So we actually my parents moved a lot, but it was more. I don't even know why they did it. It felt like they were early house flippers. Like they like to get in a house, fix it up, and they would move. But I also think my mother got really bored, and she was like, I don't like this house after 2 years. I want a different one that's more to my liking. But I went to a few elementary schools, but nothing compared to some kids. If you wind up going to 8 different schools between high schools and elementary and middle schools, it's a whole different experience. So I guess a lot of kids are like, hey, what's the big deal if I go to 3 different colleges and I've got, I wind up playing with freaking 65 different guys.
Yeah, no, to your point, it is very privileged to be like, oh, moving is a pain in the ass. It's like, no, a lot of people are, like you said, mom and dad are moving, things are changing, jobs are changing, and for some of these kids, getting that scholarship and then getting into the league, whether it's the NBA or the NFL, that is the dream. First and foremost, that is the ticket out for them and their family. So it doesn't matter if they have to go to 3 different schools. They might have gone to a couple different high schools. Mom and dad were probably on the move. Yeah, so it's very me, guy who grew up in Newport Beach, who up until recently could still go back. And my parents hadn't even converted my bedroom into like an office or workout room yet. So that's like the most privileged point of view. So to that point, yeah.
You're right. You went to one high school, right?
I went to one high school. Yeah.
Same thing here. My parents thought after like, well, I don't even know if they had in mind, but I think, after like 7th grade, they just settled, and I went to the same high school. We lived in multiple houses. I still went to the same high school. We moved around the same town, but yeah, man, I would have struggled if I had to make friends over and over and over again. So,
oh man,
I'm actually kidding. I don't remember having any problems at all. Bouncing to like bouncing to like 4 different elementary schools. I think when you're a kid, I don't know. I would hope that kids don't have like phobias and are effed up before they're like 11, but maybe that's the case now.
Yeah. I hope they're just like, hey kids, like they're not like,
hey,
clicking up.
Meet new people, adjust. That's life. Learn, get it together.
Well, actually, though, I think this is a good transition into something I tweeted about earlier that you retweeted, Cofield, which was a report from LA Times high school sports reporter Eric Sonheimer that said that Ethan Garbers, who was state champion quarterback for Corona Del Mar High School here locally in Southern California,
right,
last season, went to UW, got a scholarship to UW, went in the transfer portal this offseason, trying to go to UCLA. And the report is that Washington is preventing him from being eligible at UCLA this season, which I just think is whack, because I thought everybody just got a pass with COVID. Like normally, yeah, if it was going from your freshman to sophomore year and you transfer, not grad transfer, you do have to sit out a year.
Yeah.
But I thought that COVID, from all the reports I read, COVID like nullified that. So I tweeted that's whack. And then my old coworker from 1080 The Fan in Portland, former Huskies, former Washington tight end Cam Cleveland, chimed in.
Don't get Cam mad. Now what?
He chimed in. He said, choices, decisions, consequences. Rules are in place for a reason. But I thought that the rule got vacated for a year because of COVID across the board. And so that pissed me off. The whole thing pisses me off because whether it's the Pac-12, the NCAA, or the California Interscholastic Federation, which governs high school sports here, if you say you're for the kids, if you say that you're there for the players, the student athletes, the kids, whatever, and then you, in a year where everything got shifted, everything changed, if in that year you find a way to not let them play, then you're a hypocrite as an organization, in my opinion. Because just to that point, I'm curious what you think, Cofield, but there's a kid at the high school where I do games, the quarterback. He would have been the starting quarterback, a senior. And he, in the fall, when there was no high school sports, he moved to Utah. Like his parents moved to Utah, which like they have the ability to do that. They were like, we're just going to move to Utah. He played 5 games for a team out there. Then thought that, maybe high school sports are going to come back. I'll move back to California. CIF wouldn't let him play this year. And I'm like, I get that in another year, but don't you think this year you could have just granted a waiver for that? Anyway, he doesn't get to play football this year because he played in Utah for 5 games.
Yeah, dude. The scholastic stuff I don't know about. I don't know state to state. I know with the college players, they should all be eligible immediately, but I don't think it's finished yet. And the other thing is, the easiest thing a school can do to kind of jack with a kid is just hold back his papers, like not make them readily available, his transcript, and you can screw with a guy for a while. So that's happened in college basketball. Yeah, I don't know the whole story with the Washington kid trying to come back home to UCLA. So it'll be interesting to follow, especially because it's within the Pac-12, and right now the Pac-12 has a leadership void with Larry Scott moving on. So we'll see what happens. We got time, right? You got time until football season.
Yeah, we got time. And honestly, I don't think it's even a big story. It just caught my eye because he's a local kid from Newport Beach, and that's who that's the rivalry game that I just called the other day. So like I just caught my eye, and I just hate when organizations right now say they're for the kids, say they're for the student athletes, and then for some reason the kids aren't playing or they're not letting them play, which kind of seems just hypocritical to me.
Of course. You don't think this is going to be easy, right? I mean, you're going to have to have college, coaches especially, and then ADs, having to back coaches, but they're going to be dragged into this whole transfer thing, kicking and screaming. So, and we will point out, of course, the hypocrisy, with coaches who go to a place for 2 years and they're like, see ya, greener pastures. Oh, but the kids? No, fuck them. They can't. No. They don't get to just leave whenever they want. I do, but not them. Kids these days. So
exactly, man.
Another rant I've done many times, going back to last year, because we have a guy, Joe Esposito. I don't know why I'm explaining when I've done rants. This is stupid. Just do the show. We have a guy, Joe Esposito, who's a longtime assistant, and Joe's on with us tomorrow, and Joe's on every week. And Joe started in on the transfer portal, calling it the portal potty. And I finally snapped on Joe, and I'm like, Joe, it's you guys. You created this job hopping, school hopping deal. It's not a one-way street. It can't just be you guys get to do what you want, and the athletes have to be loyal and dedicated and accountable. So you guys already showed you're going to do whatever you want, then the kids get to do that. So this is a two-way street. This freaking the rules apply to, the rules apply to you, but not to me. Bullcrap.
And that's the way. I know that's what they want. That's the way it's always been. Is the whole decision, consequences, rules thing only applies
this is
to
a good
everyone
one.
else, not to me.
You're right. Gil the Thrill. Unless the kid wants to follow the coach from the old school to the new school, then they're fine with the players transferring then. So, I have no idea what's going to happen with TJ Otzelberger, but, if 2 or 3 of his favorite guys wanted to follow him to Iowa State, then, well, okay. Actually, one of the UNLV kids who I thought was going to be a nice player to build around, it's been debatable. A kid named Devin Tillis, who played for, is it Windward Prep? And last year they'd played against Bronny's team, and they actually did pretty well. They lost a close game, and he had a good game. He was kind of he was a surprise get for UNLV because most people thought he couldn't play in the Mountain West. I thought he had a pretty decent freshman year, but when they had the coaching change, he just bolted, and he committed to UC Irvine, which one, UC Irvine arguably is a better program right now than UNLV, and 2, it's a pretty good school, right? So
yeah, it's a really good school. Good school.
So, nothing against UNLV, and I like covering UNLV, and I'm a proud Las Vegan. I want to see the school do well, but again, something I will mention all the time: most kids are not going to be playing professional basketball, and if they do, they'll play 5-6 years internationally. You have to come back when you're 30, 31 years old. You might want to be concerned with what your degree says, what kind of education you got, the rep of the school, because you're going to have to actually work like the rest of us, from 30 to 65. So good for Devin Tillis. That's all. I'll leave it at that. Whoa. Mark and LV. Well, see, this is tough because how much longer is the Rebel going to be around? He says the Anteater is a weaker mascot than a Rebel. I don't know. The Anteaters are pretty good. It's a pretty good mascot.
I am a big fan of uniqueness of mascot. Not a lot of Anteaters running around, but I'm also a bigger fan of mascots that are, I guess, like regionally specific. Now, what's the history of the running Rebels? Like, why are they the Rebels? Oh, wait, why are they getting canceled? Is this bad? Okay.
I'll give you a quick synopsis because people will start going crazy. The name's not being canceled, but right now the mascot has been canceled. So, Hey Reb is gone. I don't know if it's going to be good enough for those people, the woke.
Was he racist? What did he do?
Well, the problem is the roots of it were when UNLV came along, it technically was, the Southern Nevada University in the university chain when it finally became official, and it was a north-south battle. It actually is a battle in the state between the folks who live in the north and the people who live in the south. So for some reason, it was acceptable back then. They went with a mascot called Beauregard, and it really did have Confederate colors. They eventually went to Rebel. So there's still roots of it being the whole north-south thing in Nevada, which, hey, you know what? UNLV chose the South. So now there's a connection. They think.
I swear.
To the Confederacy.
I didn't know this.
No, this is the way it went down. And, also part of this was the state was formed, during the Civil War. So, Adam, since you're watching, do you want to jump in for a few minutes? I've been through that. We're not doing the argument because I
don't want to argue it. I'm just curious.
I'm not down with the name changes. It's most of them drive me nuts. I also think we should just move on sometimes and just say, hey, you know what? It's not that big a deal to change the name, but it's been going on and on and on. They've taken a baby step, but I think in getting rid of the mascot, they've kind of admitted that there's something wrong with the name. So I don't really see how it fixes it. I think you're eventually heading towards changing the name. So it's weird.
Well, what was interesting in this one, and I'm not like a big don't change the name guy. I think if there's a case to be made, if people really feel so strongly and there's a discussion, I'm like, okay, yeah, I'm open to hearing that out. I'm not, also maybe I'm lucky none of my teams are affected, so I can't speak from experience, but Long Beach State.
Alex, why are you doing this?
No, I know. I feel like I opened a can of worms that you guys I'm sure have opened this can of worms and cooked this can of worms and hashed them out.
You know what's funny? We really haven't. We did a little bit of it on Cofield and Company, and the morning show did a lot more on it. It's kind of our guy Tyler Bischoff in the morning. It's more his style. Not to say it's not an important story. I just don't care.
For sure.
Honestly, if someone came up, the school I went to, Rutgers, or the Scarlet Knights, if there's some racist roots to it, or now I don't know what they would do with the name of the school because it's actually a very unique name for the school. It's one of the only state universities that's not just named, after the state. So I don't know, if Colonel Rutgers was some giant racist, as the Clemson guy is. Apparently, the dude that Clemson's named after, has.
Shocker! The South Carolina Clemson guy is a big racist. Shocker.
Like if you think really anything that's named after someone from the 18th or 19th century or before, there's a pretty good chance. Like there's going to be something. So.
Yeah. Oh, for sure. I mean, you know what? This did happen to something near and dear to my heart, which was the Oregon State rivalry. I'm not calling it the Civil War anymore. Which I'm just like, it's kind of laughable to me. I'm like, okay, like we're not calling it the Civil War. It wasn't like the Confederate Civil War. We're just but I'm also like, I don't know, some black student athletes got together and they worked with, I think, Steven Jackson, Las Vegas native, and they made a push for it. I'm like, okay, I'm probably still going to mess up and call it the Civil War, but also down here in Southern California, Long Beach State, they're no longer the 49ers.
What?
Yeah, they're not the 49ers anymore.
Wait, I missed this one. What happened?
Because the 49ers like subjugated and terrorized and raped like native peoples of California.
Why hasn't there been a massive push for the San Francisco?
Exactly. I don't know. I have no idea.
How does the most well-known 49er organization escape this?
No, that's I unless I'm missing something. And like you said, Cofield, a lot of this is like, I don't care, like more power to whoever, like if the native people, the native tribe in like Long Beach, LA, Orange County was the Tongva people, which are pretty much so decimated that no one even knows who they are. And that's a whole nother story. Like that's those fucked up thing. But I think they got together and so I respect if they are bothered by it, I respect it. But up the road in San Francisco, I haven't heard a peep about the 49ers in San Francisco at all.
Oh my God.
So they're the Sharks now. Long Beach State's the Sharks.
Here's a good point. The 76ers pillaged an entire continent. I mean, I don't want to sit here because there are legit cases where you're like, all right, that is kind of a fucked up name. Move on.
Yeah.
I don't want to do the whole slippery slope thing.
No, I don't either. It's just with the 49ers thing, though.
I want to listen to people when they're like, hey, you know what? I've got some ancestry that was freaking tortured by someone or, they violated us. I want to hear that. Did you see the latest one with but I don't want to use the term cancellation because we get to Paul Pierce versus Gina Carano and Disney. That'll be good. Did you see that Exhibit, the rapper, had a weed brand called Napalm?
No, I didn't see that.
That's out.
That makes sense.
I mean, when you think about it, it's like it really isn't a joke.
No, but I think I've smoked weed that was called napalm. I mean, maybe it must have been Exhibits, but
I mean, this is an ongoing joke that the Fighting Irish is racist. I guess. I mean, you actually could build a case if you wanted to say, hey, that there are a lot of people out there who believe that the Irish are dangerous bar dwellers. They're the most scary freak at any given bar that at any point they're going to start throwing hands. So I don't know.
Yeah, it's like I don't like the term like slippery slope either, but there is times where I'm just like, oh, okay. The Long Beach State 49ers definitely low on that was definitely low in the hierarchy of 49er teams. They're changing their name, but I really haven't heard anything about the San Francisco 49ers.
But I am willing to listen, and I think it is important to listen. I know
Totally.
I know AJ loves this stuff, the out of control PC bullshit. But here's the thing: I could also turn it on anyone and be like, "You're a pussy." That's not whatever you have a complaint about. You're a pussy. Get over it. You're being PC, like legit concerned. I don't want to hear you. So you still got to listen to people there because there are a lot of legit things that were fucked up. But my God, on the 49ers thing, I mean, we could get to a point where it's just the way males and females operated. You could probably find anything that honors a male, like pre-20th century or middle of the 20th century back, and be like, do you know what that guy did and how he treated women? Like you could go after most guys.
Yeah.
Again, I'm trying to minimize complaints by saying like, "What are you stuff?" I'm not saying that, but you could find issue. It's just it's the way the world was, and it doesn't excuse it, and we should have discussions about it. So
yeah, I will say this is my like genuine take is that when the discussions happen and we listen, I think that's where the real change occurs versus just, okay, hey, this name's not called this anymore. Like with the 49ers in Long Beach State, I happen to know that Long Beach State's campus, part of it is built on a sacred site for like the Tongva people. I found that out through research, but but that wasn't publicized. I like Doug to find that out,
right,
doing something separate. But if that's what came out of those discussions, or maybe it was publicized and I didn't look hard enough, whatever. If that's what's learned and this and that, then that's a good thing. If it's just erased and not talked about, then I don't think anything really gets achieved, because then we're just sitting here laughing at like a rebrand. Like I didn't know anything about UNLV. I'm like, what's wrong with the little rebel guy? He's a cute guy. I didn't know he was racist.
Yeah, you're out.
Yeah, no, I know.
You know what? My answer to Adam here, you see how many things Trump wants canceled this week? Snowflake. I don't see anything from DJT. So I don't know what is your news source now where like Trump's getting out a message. I see nothing. Like it is amazing what a part of daily life his social media was for most people. I see nothing now. I hear nothing. Like I'm still on the internet. So I don't know. I guess I got to pay attention more so I can be agitated about this complaint or that complaint. So,
well, I think
Adam says he puts out press releases. Is that right? Oh, and he's got his own website now.
I think this AJ, is that his name? AJ Rhea?
Did he say cancel man? Oh,
no, that's probably what he said. That's a
good point. The fight over Major League Baseball, that was when it first came down, the hilarity from the governor of Georgia. Then there was, who was the jabroni? Wasn't there a guy in South Carolina, one of the politicians was like, well, it might be time to look into their antitrust exemption. And it's like, you're not going to do that. And here, the other thing is, the baseball owners are actually fund a lot of you guys. They're fucking richer than you. So they're going to flick you off like a goddamn tick. So cut it out. Not doing that. You've never done that. There's been threats. It's just, I just feel like we have so many politicians today who it feels like much of their existence is just going and trolling on social media. Like they're worse than fucking teenagers.
No,
like every day you wake up and you're like, let me throw out this doozy to stir the pot. Like, don't you have shit to do? You're an elected official. There's got to be something going on in your neck of the woods. God damn, get to work.
No, for real. It's like, don't you have legislation to pass? Like, don't you have a job to do? And you know what I don't get is like a lot of these politicians that are tweeting about the MLB or trolling about these things. Like, don't they represent a tiny part of a state? Why are they not focused on shit that affects those people? Why are they focused on, like, why is, a politician from Texas pissed off about some shit going on in Georgia when he still hasn't figured out he hasn't cleaned up his own mess? I just don't get that.
Yep. Because everyone now is a social influencer. Everyone wakes up every day trying to score points because it's the easiest way to score points. It's bizarre. Whatever. I know every generation says this, but it's one of the crazier times, and yeah. And I don't like what baseball did. So how do you feel? about moving the All-Star game. Like I don't like what Georgia did either, and I'm not here to say like Major League Baseball shouldn't get involved. I saw basically we're back to the stick to sports thing, and you're staying out of politics. Like, shut up. All right, we're voters. If Major League Baseball has influence, if they don't want to do everyone is free to do business where they want. If they don't feel comfortable in a certain state, then they can pull out, so that they have that sort of influence. They have that right. I just don't like the move because I think it opens up. I'll use the term again. So many, or a Pandora's box. There's so many possibilities to go after Major League Baseball because there's no way Major League Baseball actually did some research on this, Alex. And they were like, that's the state that represents what we're looking for the best in terms of voter access. Major League Baseball did zero research. They just reacted. They're like, let's get out. And then then they start to scramble like, okay, where do we go? Then they pick a spot. And then, I'm sure they're going to find some flaws in Colorado, and we're going to have a whole fight about this. I'm glad baseball, wants to make a social impact, but think it through a little bit, and it doesn't have to be like a 2-day decision.
Yeah. So are you implying, or like, do you not like it because of it feels like a quick reaction cave to public pressure?
No, I don't trust. I trust the NBA to make well-reasoned decisions. I think Adam Silver is a smart guy, and I think his team would research things and not just knee-jerk. I don't trust. Rob Manfred can't run baseball. And let's not even start on Goodell. Right? I don't trust them to make wise decisions that are well thought out. And I don't believe baseball took enough time to really think about what's the best way. If we're not happy with, and we believe voting is more restricted in Georgia and people are not going to get a chance to vote, how do we affect that? Do we affect that by going, fuck this, we're out of here. Georgia's bad. You're mean. Or do you think it through? How do you, what I would recommend is you get into Georgia and try to make, put together grassroots efforts to make change. Maybe to have this thing repealed. How do we improve it? How do we get the message out that, hey, you're now going to have to show even more diligence in getting your vote in, right? But instead, they bail on it. And Adam said it today on the air. Up front, who do they really affect with this business move? By pulling their business out of Georgia. Do you think it hurts Governor Kemp one goddamn iota? No. It's going to hurt all the little guys and the businesses in the area who are going to benefit from, a big event being there. It doesn't hurt the wealthy or the politicians. Ultimately, it's a drop in the bucket for them. So long answer. Sorry.
No. I actually think that's a very nuanced and spot on and right answer. But my gut liked it. My gut liked it because I didn't expect baseball to take. My gut liked it because I agree with it politically. Because I am seeing what I'm seeing out of Georgia is like, this is fucked up. Keeping people from voting, however you want to disguise it and repackage it, is fucked up. So I liked that baseball did something in response to that. And I didn't expect that out of baseball. But like you said, what does that actually do to change it? Other than make people like me say like, oh, wow, baseball, hell yeah, good on you. Baseball's doing the right thing. Does it actually do anything to change it? Probably not. If Adam Silver was the commissioner of baseball, like when the players had their brief strike or boycott in the bubble, the NBA came back like a multiple part plan of here's what we're going to do in response to this. And we're going to turn these into voting sites. We're going to give money to this and this. It wasn't perfect, but it was something and it was a change. Whereas I haven't seen.
Alex, think about what the NBA did before the election. The NBA made a massive effort around the country and in its cities, but especially in the state of Georgia. There's an argument to be made that with the influence of the NBA players and the NBA helping the cause to have more voting sites and more availability, the NBA may have given the presidency to Joe Biden.
Yeah. Well, it was something. It was real change.
May have been instrumental in flipping 2 Senate seats in Georgia because the NBA didn't make some grandstand bullshit. They got on the ground and did grassroots work. That's what you do. And then the other thing is what baseball did just feeds the machine. So then you've got guys like Kemp You've got guys like Abbott who then get to put out their rhetoric, which plays to their base. It's like you just fed the beast. You didn't fix the situation. Now they're just dug in more. People who weren't paying attention on the side of, you know what, let's restrict the vote. We were robbed in the last election. It was fraudulent. You just helped their effort by pulling out and basically saying, we're not going to work on Georgia. We're just going to get out of here. We don't like the situation. We're just leaving. It's dumb. Short-sighted.
Yeah. What does it actually solve, I think, is your point. And the answer, at least from what I know, is nothing. And it does lead to a lot of grandstanding and posturing and performative stuff from people, but it doesn't actually lead to real change. So I get that. I actually get that.
And I'll just say, going back 5 minutes, poor exhibit. He's just trying to make a living. All right, the name wasn't, very sensitive with his napalm weed, but he's just trying to make a living, man. Give exhibit a break. Pimp My Ride was a long time ago.
See, that's the problem with big weed. That's the problem with weed getting so corporate now. They might change AK-47. Another popular strain.
Is that right?
You know what I mean?
That won't be
you couldn't cancel the weed dealer because he was already on the verge of getting arrested. You know what I mean? He was already clandestine. He couldn't get canceled.
Yeah. Who knows? Maybe, in a way, I'm not sure what Kent's getting at here, but it may, I don't know. Did MLB actually create a national conversation, and in the long run that could be beneficial? Possibly. But here's the thing.
Simple. Yes. Yeah.
You actually have to have the conversation. and we're heading towards people just go to the corners, the opposing sides, and then they just kind of scream at each other, and it doesn't feel like they have a conversation. So, but I would hope this would at least shine a light on. There are lots of states out there that seem to be getting a little froggy with access to voting. And now I'll tell you this: I am more thrilled by the day that I live in Nevada, because there's a lot of things you may not like about Sisolak or our local politicians or state government. I feel like I so often look at other states, and it also goes with I'll ask you how the vaccine's going in California. We have problems here, but basic stuff, important stuff like access to voting, I think is great here. I've never had an issue. I've almost never had to wait in line. And now this, we've got a major health issue, and folks in the chat room we've been talking about this for a month. Has anyone really had any trouble, any difficulty getting access to the vaccine? Petra was telling me, Petra's on Wednesdays. Petra was talking on the podcast about access to the vaccine, and I'm like, what is going on there? I'm like, it is my girlfriend went over to a Walgreens the other day. There was a line of 4 people. You book an appointment. She probably waited 6 minutes past the time. She got the shot. You sit there for 15 minutes and make sure you're good to go. In and out. She's got it. And you look at other places around the country, you're like, wait. We were talking to a guy who lives in New York City, and he's like, I had to drive 2 hours out of town to this area to get the shot. I'm like, what the fuck is going on?
Yeah.
And this kind of stuff, unless I don't know if vaccine difficulties or if that's being done on purpose, the voting stuff just boggles the mind. I can't imagine living in a state where you're like, yeah, I got to take the day off because I got to wait 8 hours, or you know what, I used to have access after work until 7 o'clock to vote. Now they're cutting it off at 5. What are we doing? This is nonsense.
Yeah, man. I've only lived in California and Oregon, and in Oregon, I only had mail-in ballots. I didn't even have to ever go anywhere. And then after I moved to California, I guess growing up, I'd go with my parents to the polling places, but to me, voting's always been easy and fun. I've always enjoyed it. I can't imagine it being a chore. And similarly, I've had the easiest time getting the vaccine. I got my vaccination card right here. I'm half vaxxed. Make sure I don't have any personal info on there. I'm half vaxxed. I get shot number 2 on Saturday. And I just went with my friend. She was like, hey, I've got a vaccine appointment through the city of Los Angeles on Saturday. Come with me. I didn't have an appointment. They were like, oh, you know what? Just stay in line. You're good. And I just got it. Like all they did was, it was super easy. And if I had just shown up on my own or whatever, there was a walk-up line. They're like at noon walk-up start. And there was like a few people there at 10. The line was starting to form, but the whole thing took about an hour. And I get shot number 2 Saturday. Super easy.
I mean, I don't know. Maybe I know California has its issues, and it's not always the easiest place to live, but for, at least for voting and for stuff like this, a public health crisis, it's, at least in the areas we live in now, there may be some urban areas where it's a lot more difficult. Like, I don't know everyone's stories. So I think this comment from AJ is pretty interesting because I see this all the time, that MLB turned off many of its fans. Well, one, this has been a systematic effort by MLB to turn off its fans for about 40 years and not develop younger fans. So if you're talking about the 50-plus crowd that I'm in, I mean, I guess if you have to worry about them because they're the only fans left, I'll tell you this: I did 3 fantasy baseball leagues, and we're all old guys now. And the baseball all-star thing came down, I think, on Friday, and we did our draft. We all spent our money to get thrown in the pool, and no one had any problem with it. So, and interestingly enough, if MLB turned off its fans by the move, they opened the Ranger Stadium with no mask to full capacity. Were there 4,000 people there, or were there 40,000 people there? Like, think about it. If you're really mad at Major League Baseball, and you have the right to be if you want, you feel like they're picking sides based on politics, don't go to the games. That's the ultimate message. Wouldn't that have been amazing?
Oh, yeah.
Rangers in Texas were like, yep, everyone come in. And then you're like, oh, shit, 3,000 people showed up. Like, we done fucked up. That didn't happen.
No, people are. I love the you've turned off your fans argument because I think it's great in theory, but I've never met anyone that stopped going to games. And my favorite thing I heard, I'm being sarcastic, but last summer, I remember talking to I heard from a few people in Southern California, a few like Newport Beach Republicans, and they're like, well, I don't watch the NBA anymore because of Black Lives Matter, which is just, I'm like, just that statement alone, like, I don't really want to be your friend anymore. Like, I don't want to, you don't watch the NBA anymore because of Black Lives Matter. Like, just say that out loud and listen how fucking stupid you sound. And second of all, they're not, the people that were telling that to me were people that I've just never even known to watch the NBA.
Exactly.
You know what I mean?
They are watching. So I stopped watching. 30 years ago, you stopped watching. It wasn't in the last 3 years. You're lying. Stop.
So it's like you're a 45-year-old white woman in Newport Beach. You've never been a religious NBA watcher ever, nor are you the target demographic. But thank you for telling me that because of Black Lives Matter, you stopped watching. Now I know you suck, and I don't need to talk to you anymore.
This is a good question from AJ. AJ, are you saying that it's plateaued the last, whatever, so many years? I don't know. I got to look at the attendance numbers. I think baseball is doing fine. They're making money hand over fist. They're making a ton of money on the international market or internationally. They're making a ton of money from their TV deals. The funny thing is, a lot of the folks who will say they're mad at baseball, they're not, that age group, hey, I'm not going to watch anymore. If you go back like 30 or 40 years, attendance for baseball was actually really shitty. You can watch playoff games late 70s into the early 80s, mid 80s. And I'm not saying every spot, but you could watch playoff games and they're like, the stadiums are like half full, 3/4 full. There's empty seats all over the place. So baseball is doing fine. And so is the NFL. I mean, come on. How many times do we have that conversation, Alex? With the kneeling stuff that the NFL
that's what's funny. We've had that conversation so many times, we don't even have it anymore. Like the kneeling thing. And yeah.
It's, I mean, on the popularity of the sport, I mean, we just had the new TV deals go down 2 weeks ago, and I kept joking on the air about it. Because people are like, I'm not watching the NFL anymore. The league's going to die without me. And it's like, well, you may leave, but 3 more fans may come on board because they're like, you know what? I'm down with what the NFL is doing. And for all that struggling, the NFL went into the TV negotiations and they're like, you know what? We know we took a PR hit, and it's been rough. So here's what we're going to do on the TV deal. You're going to pay double now. Like, well, wait, what? What the fuck? Yeah, you're going to pay double. That's the deal. You're going to pay double. And, and the sweetheart deals the TV networks got were like, they only had to pay like, the jump was only like freaking 80% instead of 100%. So the NFL is doing fine, baseball is doing fine, and fans come and go. People are going to say, I don't believe I don't believe most people who say they're not going to do something anymore, they're going to boycott, actually follow through on the boycott.
Yeah, no, it's everything is performative. Everything's performative, good and bad. Like you say, you're going to boycott. You're going to end up watching. You say support something. Like, did you really support it? It's all performative, Steve.
And with Miller J, like I understand that. I actually don't sit and watch a whole lot of baseball. Most of what I do is I'll gamble. I play fantasy baseball. I'll watch some stuff here and there. I'm interested. I follow it. I read up about it after, but I don't invest hours and hours to watch baseball. So I get it. It is slow. It is slow and boring. And I like baseball and I played baseball, but it's slow, man. How many people have time to sit there? It's funny watching one of the best follows, because he's a lunatic, and I hope he lives past whatever he is, like 40. One of the best follows as a sports fan, and I think some of it's character, but most of it's not, is does anyone follow the guy Frankie? He's this big, gigantic, fat kid who's a Mets fan, and he's tied in with a bar stool, right? I mean, he's fat. Like, he looks like he's 5'9", like 500.
I don't know.
And he just you could tell, I don't know if he lives with his mom or he's got like I imagine he's got like this rent controlled apartment in Queens, like he's pushing 40. He goes to the games. He's got like the old satin, like 80s Mets jacket on, like, whatever, the 86 Mets, those jackets.
Yeah, those are sick.
And he just tweets all game long. He's like, fucking Mets, the Familia's in, fuck this, we're going to get the strength. Like, I think it's the funniest thing ever, but I also believe there are a lot of people, and he's a little bit younger, but there are a lot of people who do watch baseball like that, who are still like totally invested in baseball to the point where they're screaming and yelling about the second and the sixth and the eighth inning. I'm like, my God. Like, I
love that.
My life has changed a lot. I like it. I admire it. That like life is so simple for that dude. It's just like, I'm going to eat like 3 fattening meals, just get bigger and bigger, and then just like have a near heart attack every night over the Mets.
Man, I like envy that so much. I want that lifestyle so bad, and I don't have it. I just don't think I have it in me. I don't watch enough every single year. For like almost the last decade, I've been like, I'm going to watch more baseball this year. I'm going to have some afternoon beers and watch some baseball. I'm going to get out and I just doesn't happen.
That's awesome. I type in Frank. Yeah, it's the Tank. NJ Tank 99, Frank Fleming. Yeah, I mean, he's big. He's got 75,000 followers. He's part of Barstool. I guess he came up with the sports encyclopedia years ago. He's got a pod. He actually lives. I didn't know he lived in that town. I didn't even look that up. That he's actually a New Jersey guy, not Queens, but he lives in Belleville, New Jersey, which I had family that lived there for a while. And he's just hilarious because his life just seems like. Let's see if he posted any food today. I mean, he's a blogger. He did write a blog. He does write a blog every day about the games. I don't know. I can't find any food pictures right now. Of course, I'm also 50 tweets back, and that's 5 hours ago. Jesus Christ.
Oh, so he's just
it's just like, good play by Nimmo. I'm greedy. Come on, Castro. Ugh, this bullpen. Luis Rojas is clueless. I mean, it's fucking the 6th game of the year. 5th. Here we go again. Rojas is good. These are all different tweets. Worst manager. I am kind of jealous. I like it.
No, I am jealous too. I'm looking at my phone because I just want to go to a baseball game. So I was looking to see what Dodgers tickets are going for right now. Probably expensive. Whew. Yeah.
I would love to. I hope. Maybe I missed it. I hope Rachel Nichols. Does she go on Levitard? Does anyone know in the audience?
I don't know.
That's a good point. Adam makes a point here that I forgot the Mets didn't play because of the Nats. So it's a second game, and he's like, worst look, Trevor May again. Fuck. Like, Jesus, dude. Does Nichols go on Levitard? I hope she does. He's got to ask about Paul Pierce. Come on.
So Cofield, I need you to inform me what happened with Rachel Nichols and Paul Pierce. I know Paul Pierce went on IG Live with the twerking and the poker and I didn't see what happened with Rachel Nichols. I'm sorry.
All I know that happened was a commenter or commenters were like, "Hey, where's Rachel Nichols?" Like at the party. I don't even think he reacted to it. But then she started trending. Her name started trending, and people believe that's one of the reasons that ESPN's like, "We got to get out of this." Like, what?
Like we don't want anything to do with it,
dude. I don't know. This feels worse than Gina Carano being canceled by Disney. So I hope, as I said on the air today, I hope that Clay Travis steps up on behalf of Paul Pierce like so many people did on behalf of Gina Carano. It's the same thing, right? They got canceled.
Yeah, I defend I understand the firing of Gina Carano more than I understand the firing of Paul Pierce. I just don't think Paul Pierce really did anything that wrong. Didn't we all assume that's what his lifestyle was?
I swear when I saw the video and some of the screen caps, I was like, all right. So he's got strippers over and he's smoking some weed.
No, same, dude. I was shocked when it even became a meme. I was like, I was almost like I just assumed that he went on IG Live like that all the time, and for some reason, it blew up. But
Paul Pierce, poor Paul Pierce.
No, I don't feel bad. You know what?
Here's the thing. Maybe there's something we missed. Maybe he's been on the edge of getting fired like 5 or 6 times. I don't. Who knows, man? You never know the true story. Hopefully, someone will come out with the true story. I can't imagine it's just off of him smoking a blunt and having some PHAT, some fat asses in the background twerking. Mm-hmm. That doesn't seem very just to me.
Yeah, for me, I think I don't like Paul Pierce as an analyst. He's one of my least favorite analysts. I think he's annoying. And this actually made me like him more. I was like, oh, look at Paul's just one of the guys.
Yep. Damn, we might have to cut down Cofield and Company strip club shows from like our normal 20 in a year, down to like 8.
Do you guys actually do them?
Dude, we used to do.
No.
We had a deal with Crazy Horse 3 where we did most of the spring and summer, and then we had a bail before the football season because someone else had that day, a pre-existing client. But I think we did, I don't know, like 2 years ago, we did probably 14 shows there. We did like every Friday for 3 months.
At the strip club.
Yes. Dude, we used to do
dancers out and dancing.
Yeah, they're dancing. They're off in the distance. Crazy Horse is actually the Crazy Horse. And by the way, Crazy Horse is right near the stadium. The NFL is going to love this, and they can't do anything about it. There's actually within view of the stadium, basically on the opposite corner at an intersection, you can walk right across the street to a strip club from the new Raider Stadium. There's also the Hustler Club, which is a little longer walk, but it's not super long. You could walk to that one. So there's actually 2 clubs within walking distance to Raider Stadium. No, I would say back 2008, we probably did, if we do, what do we do? 260 shows a year, roughly. We probably did 70 at strip clubs.
It's amazing. I need to get out to Vegas.
They were great. They're a great client. They strip clubs have changed here because of the stupid pool parties. So now, they're kind of operating with a different clientele. They don't have as much money as they used to have. And so they don't advertise on sports radio like they used to. But yeah, like 12, 13 years ago, we would do, I would say, 25% of our shows were live from a strip club. You just do the show. You don't even, Adam Hill can tell you, we do it. I think when Adam does it, a lot of times he's turned to the side. He can't even see it. Crazy Horse is gigantic. So there's like 3 rooms at Crazy Horse. We're in the second room, and there's these big kind of curtains that are up. And if they have them open, we can see the dancers. But I swear, you get so conditioned to it, Alex, that you're just like,
no.
There's just someone dancing in the background. I mean, I swear, like probably once every 4 shows, I'll look up and I'm like, nice tits, you know. She's kind of hot. But beyond that, you just do the show.
When I lived in Portland, Portland has a ton of strip clubs, and a lot of them really have good food. So it was like I'd go to get a burger at the strip club. I'm sure you guys had this in Vegas, but it wasn't like, it was like, oh yeah, there's a dancer. Damn, that girl's hot. Okay, this burger's bomb. What beers do we have on tap? Like, when's my friend getting here? I'm not, I feel like in SoCal or like in LA or maybe in other places, like the strip club is like, you are there, you're getting hustled, you're like in.
Yeah. Dude, like afternoon happy hour here in Vegas at a strip club. If you're like a well-adjusted dude, you're like, okay, the beers are cheap. There's some chicks dancing in the background. If I want to talk to them, I will. If I want to get a dance, I will. They don't bother you. Yeah, Adam was saying the best is guests would come down live and they'd be like, you know what? Don't say I'm here live. Because I have to kind of protect my image. And I forget. I'm like,
that's so good.
That we're doing something bad. Like I just look at it like it's a bar that's a little bit racy. I'll go even further. Like if you're a dude and you go to strip clubs and you are like you're uncomfortable or you're like, oh my God, this is the greatest thing ever. Like, bro, have you been around women? Like, fucking relax.
Yeah.
I don't know that I'm going to do that speech on terrestrial radio where I'm like, you're not you're an abnormal guy if you're getting all, freaked out at a strip club. I guess that's
don't do that. Don't do that. But I feel you.
Yeah. Oh yeah. Hey, the Detroit Super Bowl, we actually, I know for like radio guys say this all the time where they're like, we're the only ones in the country who do this. I'm the only one who said this. I know for a fact that when we went to Detroit to cover the Super Bowl, when we put our trip together, we were like, all right, we're doing 2 shows on Radio Row. We're there for 4 show days. You know what? We may have done 1 show on Radio Row, and then the rest of the shows we did were at a Hooters. Adam, chime in if you remember in the chat room. And I know.
How was the Detroit Hooters, by the way?
I thought it was awesome. We actually met this really nice lady who, God, I think, whatever. She was hot. She was cool. She freaking loved hanging around us. The Sports Pig was a big hit with her. Yeah, we went there. And then we went to Canada and did live shows from, I think we did one day at the place there was Cheetah, because we have a Cheetah. Well, we used to have a Cheetahs here. And we did a live show from Canada from a strip club. We're like, hey, we're the only ones doing this. Everyone else is being a nerd sitting on Radio Row. And if I remember correctly, the Radio Row setup was terrible in Detroit. But yeah, whatever. We did the same. Miami, we did the same thing. Miami, we did. It also, in the end, radio takes advertising dollars and they fund trips. So I think we did 2 in the Miami Super Bowl we went to. We did 2 shows from strip clubs, one near the airport and one right near the Miami Heat Arena. So yeah, we may have been a little bit desensitized, like 2006, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. Like, I think back maybe for the image of the station, 70 shows a year from strip clubs may have been a little too much. May have been.
That's amazing. I actually gained a lot of respect for your career today, Cofield and Adam Hill. Just like, that's amazing. And I'm not even like from like strip clubs are so sick. It's just like, that's cool. You guys went to Detroit and did shows at a strip club. I'm envious of that. I want to live that lifestyle.
One of the guys who worked, I can't remember if it was the Pink Pony. Damn, I can't remember now if that was Daytona or South Florida. But yeah, we met I'd have to look up his name now, one of Pete Rose's like cohorts when he was really getting in trouble, this guy Tommy. And I think he was basically like his illicit drug connection. I don't know that for a fact, but he had a lot of stories. Yeah, he was like a manager at the club, and he's like, "Oh, let me tell you about Pete." And I'm like, "Jesus Christ, I think this is awesome." Meeting this guy,
he's going so great.
Yeah, he's going crazy. So,
damn, dude, I just didn't know that the Vegas sports radio scene went that hard, and I'm a little envious, and my respect level for you and Adam Hill's gone up. planning a trip to Detroit, and you're like, okay, we got to do shows at Hooters and the strip club. We're gonna go to Canada. Man, that's so. My sports, and it's so much more limited than yours, but my sports radio experience has been just so much more vanilla.
You know what's funny is it's a different station, a different type of station. But that was a way. We actually had a brokered show for like 4 years. We did what what you're doing or what you've been doing on the weekends, but we did a 5-day a week thing, and you get the money from where you can get it. Within the scope of the rules, and they were always a good partner. I'll tell you what. The strip clubs we worked with, they paid, and that's the most important thing in radio. Like, because chasing your money down a lot of times from advertisers, and we're talking about like well-established bar groups in town. Sometimes they just don't pay.
Mm-hmm.
Like, okay, am I getting my check or not? Like, well, sorry, and I know other people have done broker shows. They've dealt with like mainstream casino groups in town, and it's like payment 6 months late. Strip clubs I dealt with, they paid. Hey, show up on this Monday, first of the month. Here's your money. So, okay,
it's amazing.
Good with me. Does the radio line work? Yep. Okay, we're good to go. Sorry, I didn't mean to turn that into storytelling time, but
no. I mean, like, I am legitimately in my head scheming, like, okay, how can I trend my career? I guess I'm doing games at a high school right now, so there's got to be some separation of church and state, so to speak.
I think you need strip club sponsors, during the high school.
Oh my gosh, it's so much.
Today's water polo game brought to you by the Rhino.
Yeah, it's so much more wholesome. It's too wholesome for that, but
probably won't work.
Like, I forget.
And by the way, Mark did get me. We actually didn't get checks. I actually did just get a stack of 5,000 singles, 8,000 singles, 3,000 singles, whatever the bill was that month.
I forget that. I forget the rules. No, we've got MILFs, dude. Yeah, oh God, I hope none of the kids are watching.
Who do you fund a radio career off of? I mean, the MILFs can be they got money, they're connected, but is it the MILFs or is it the strippers? Got to make a choice.
I mean, right now we're going off of MILFs. Newport Beach Lexus. Who do you think shops there?
Exactly.
I don't get a Lexus though. I don't get to do the show in a Lexus. I just have to plug them on our broadcast.
Not yet.
Not yet. Exactly.
Could be coming. You're rolling with the big dogs. Look at that. We showed a suit that you paid $200 for.
Shit. That's right.
Right around the corner, man.
That's right. But I do forget, like there's a teacher that produces our broadcasts. Like, he runs the tech and he does all this. And I bought him a 6-pack of beer because last Friday was his birthday. So I brought the 6-pack of beer to the high school to give to him. And I'm like, oh, this is probably super not allowed on campus.
Yeah.
I can't just be walking around with a 6-pack of beer on the high school campus. I would have been scared to death if I was in high school, having that in my backpack. But I was just like, oh, hey, John. And he's like, oh, hey, let's put that away. Thank you. Forget.
Well, you and I have talked about, you jumping in feet first on the high school stuff because there's a lot of money to be made there. This would be like when you're sitting here sort of in awe. You're like, strip clubs, that's amazing. It just became the norm, dude. You know what a breakthrough it would be if you did a Southern California high school football podcast, and it was sponsored by an offshore book that puts up numbers for high school football games.
Oh my God,
that would be such a barrier breaker. Now, you would get shit over it, and I don't think you're getting mainstream. Yeah. You're not getting mainstream advertisements, but my God, that would be so cool. No scruples at Alex. But
no, I mean, because this to bring it full circle, this goes back to the coaches can quit and leave and get a new job after a season or two, and the kids have to stay and wear the same uniform for 4 years and bleed for their school. So, money talks. I have no scruples when it comes to advertisers, and no one should, because I just think when you get on your high horse with one, I would never let an offshore book sponsor our high school podcast, whatever, it's like, oh, cool. But whatever other company that you allow do it, what are they doing? You know what I mean? It's just it's a slippery slope. to bring it full circle. Does Five Dimes really do big high school games?
I'm pretty sure. Yeah. I think Offshore Books have been doing high school for at least 10 years.
I got to look into that.
I mean, let's be honest, especially, I mean, I would think I'm guaranteeing it's the case in California too, but in Texas, Ohio, probably my home state, Jersey, Florida for sure, that in these super competitive high school towns, that there are bookies booking high school games. There's no doubt in my mind. And it's probably been going on for 50, 60 years.
Without a doubt.
Like you don't think there's a way to get action down on modern day games?
No, there for sure is. I just haven't found it yet, and I want to find it. I want to find it.
We'll be doing a podcast 4 months in a row. I'm telling you, I got information. I don't know for sure. I can't prove it, but I know for sure that there's a guy who books the games. Yeah,
well, I haven't. I know. See, I'd keep that under wraps because I want to place some bets. I see now. This is a slippery slope for me career-wise, but
Paul Pierce all over again.
Few people have watched as much Sunset League as the league that we're in, and it's a good league. It's not like the greatest league, but it's a good league. Few people have watched as much Sunset League football as me this year, outside of like the coaches and like a handful of reporters. I'm like, I could definitely come up with pretty accurate lines for these games. Well, not saying I'm going to do that and start my own book. I'm just saying I could better than a lot of people.
Do you have the cash backing to do this?
That's the problem, because now you're talking about big Steve, I shouldn't use Big John over at Newport Lexus. He might want to lay a pretty big wager on the game. I don't know if I can back that.
Probably can't. And big whoever he is will probably have someone to come and F you up.
True.
Do we want to go with a male Karen to wrap up the show or not?
I'm down.
There's not much to it, and I'm kind of done with the Karen things, but they're still out there, man. They ain't going away on the whole mask thing. That I know you sent over something about the vaccine passport in Texas.
Oh, yeah.
I feel so bad for businesses that really need people to mask up the rest of the year for their business to survive and thrive and have their customers feel confident. Businesses in Texas and Florida are going to be in such a weird position, like having to fight their own battle over the mask and safety stuff.
Yeah, it sucks.
It sucks big time, right? It's the least of what you need. Are you pro or anti-passport?
Kind of anti-passport.
I mostly am too. But I do find it funny that some people are gonna go fucking crazy over it. It would be cool to see people just getting turned away from concerts. just going ape shit over it.
I'm like anti. I'm just anti because I don't like the idea of potentially segregating things more in like a society that's becoming more separated, haves and have-nots. I don't like the idea of just adding another restriction to people. At the same time, I'm about to be fully vaxxed. I understand the reasons for it. You have to get You have to get literal vaccine passports to travel to a lot of countries. So it's not like this new crazy thing. I'm just not super into it.
All right, I was loading up this video. This is really weird. Like, I actually feel bad for the guy, and I think there's something wrong with him right now. And he's had a lot of battles. Have you ever heard of a dude named Stephan Bonner?
I don't think I have.
So he fought for the UFC.
Oh, I see him.
He was part of one of the biggest fights in the history of the promotion early on, because his fight against Forrest Griffin on Spike TV actually, in a lot of ways, saved the company because it was such an awesome fight, and so many people got to see it on free TV, and UFC was not getting a lot of exposure back then. So Bonner's here in town, and he's had a bunch of issues, and he's in a lawsuit right now with a company called Real Water. He claims they fucked him up badly, and like I don't know, man. He seems like he's off kilter here, but I guess he gets into a battle at his local gym. He's an anti-masker. He wouldn't wear the mask, and apparently someone there complained to the front desk or something, or whoever's there, and was like, "You got to get him out of here." And then he's just his behavior and his speech pattern is just really weird here.
Been coming to this gym 14 years, getting kicked out on my birthday because one of these sheep were complaining that my mask was dropping. Well, guess what, sheep? I got a medical exemption. I have asthma. I'm doing you a favor by even playing pretend. Masks don't do anything. Wake up, you sheep, tattletales, cowards.
What do you think of that? If you didn't know him, what do you think?
It kind of makes me sad. I'm just like, oh, this guy's. It's just like people like that are just. I'm almost. I shouldn't say I feel bad for him, but I'm almost just like sad. Like, man, you're lost. It's always the people that are calling everyone else sheep. They're like, man, you're the most lost in the flock. Steven.
Plus, unless he was like effed up, he almost seemed like he was on the verge of tears. Like, bro, just cooperate, play along, put on the mask.
Oh, dude, I saw this girl that I know down in OC. You know, there's OC's pretty much open. It's funny. I see some people, like I was on Twitter earlier, people like, oh, I can't wait to go to this sandwich spot once I'm vaxxed. I'm half vaxxed, but on Friday in OC, I went out for a drink with a friend. Man, I was in a packed bar, like shoulder to shoulder, no masks required inside.
Really?
And staff wasn't wearing masks either. And I was like, oh, okay, so this is how it's going down. Got it. And my friend and I went out to the patio.
Were you wearing a mask?
Once we got in there and everyone else wasn't, we took ours off, which I feel like guess bad admitting, but we took ours off and no staff was wearing. Security was like, you don't need that. Okay.
Where was this?
I guess this was in Costa Mesa. Like, what's
the name of the place?
The Wild Goose. They're like proud of it. I don't even feel like I'm outing them. They're like proud.
Oh man.
It was weird. I was drunk. I was pretty drunk. The next day I woke up and I was like, you know what? Like, I didn't really need to be in the packed bar. My friend and I went and sat out on the patio. We like got a table, sat out. But it was weird. But I said all that just to say OC. Oh, like Mark and LV. Yeah. OC is like parts of it are fully open if you know where to look. Which is like Huntington and Newport. This girl I know posted on Instagram the other day, like in a clothing store. She was like inside shopping, took my muzzle off and breathing deeply. And it's like a video of her inside, like maskless in a clothing shop. And it's like, it took my muzzle off, breathing deeply with like an American flag emoji. And I'm just like, that's lame. Like, come on. Just like, did the shop owner tell you to take the mask off? Miller J calling me a sheep.
No, I'm not sure what he's saying. Is it all the people who are maskless being sheep? Yeah, I'll say right now, I wouldn't stay. And I have no problem. I got no problem wearing a mask amongst like 100 people. So go ahead, fuck it up because I'm wearing a mask. So I don't. I did it when people were kind of slow to buy into it. I did it at I'm trying to think of what the real name of the bar. There's a place, Larry's, up off of Rancho, and like I was there probably the first week of April last year, and no one was really wearing a mask, and I'm like, yeah, I'm wearing a mask. I'm like, I don't know what you people have. And
I don't mind the mask.
By the way, I will tell you right now, and in some ways it's going to be like ball busting and almost like virtue signaling. I don't believe a lot of people are very clean, that they're washing their hands, they're not sneezing in their fucking hands. So yeah, I'm going to wear a mask if I want to. Too bad.
Oh, I don't judge the mask.
And if someone said to me like, you're insulting us, Okay, yeah, that's what I meant to do. Yeah, I don't trust you.
No, I'm with that.
I don't trust everybody to have been vaccinated and to be clean. Sorry, we've seen people's behavior the last year. You've proven, a lot of people have proven nothing in terms of building confidence for others. So yeah, I'm doing what I want, and I'm getting both shots. My second shot is on Saturday. But
you too?
What's that?
We're both second shot on Saturday.
We are both second shot on Saturday. So I'll send you as I lay on the floor, convulsing from the second shot, because I heard the second shot has some effects. Or if I'm laid up on Saturday night, not being able to go, and I was going to say go out and drink, but I won't go out. But if I have side effects, I'll be like, oh God, dude, I need your help.
No, I'm supposed to be. I mean, yeah, my Sunday's cleared. My Saturday night's cleared. I expect to. Yeah, to have a little.
This is one I've never understood, and no one ever talked. No one ever actually has this conversation. Like, why would you risk anything? Like, when's the last time you went to the hospital, and then weeks later you got the bill, and you're like, "Fuck, man." Like, hey, you can save yourself whatever, $2,000, $3,000, $4,000 more. No, man, I'm gonna take the chance. I'm not a sheep. Okay, well, you roll the dice. I'm not pissing away money in our stupid healthcare system. So you be brave. And you wind up going to emergency, whatever, quick care or the hospital. You enjoy that and see how much it costs. As I say all the time, I'm cheap. I'm a value player. So the value is wearing the fucking mask if it prevents my chance of getting sick by even, a 1% improvement.
Yeah, I went to the maskless bar, the Wild Goose, Friday. And Saturday I woke up and I was like, I wish I just, was it worth it? No, it's probably not worth it.
Yeah. I know the studies are coming out, and, once vaxxed, you probably have a pretty good chance, at least, a good chance of staying safe for at least for 6 months. But like I said, I fully admitted, in front of our robust audience, that I'll probably do it just more to bust chops and be annoying. So are you going to shake hands again? Or are you done for life?
Oh, Cofield. I work at a high school in Newport Beach. Everyone's shaking. All the parents are shaking my hand. I shake hands every week, but I keep hand sanitizer on deck.
You're gonna go like full Howie Mandel from here. You got that? You got the hand. Well, he doesn't even shake hands. So.
Oh no, dude! I'm shaking.
I have a friend in town who was always like a Howie Mandel type, like very afraid of diseases and whatever, and he never shook hands. I cannot even imagine what he's going to be like coming out of this. Like I actually haven't seen him in 13 months. Like I don't know if he goes out. He actually owns a bar. I have no idea if he goes to the bar. I don't know what he does now. So it's like those people who are already, extra careful or kind of afraid. I don't know what
they're shut down. And to Adam Hill's point here in the chat, I am a big fist bump guy, but when someone goes for the handshake, lately, I've just been sliding in there with it. I don't know.
You are sheep. Come on, man. Show a backbone.
I like a good handshake.
I never liked handshakes. I actually did give fist bumps. I gave a fist bump to Brian from NBC Local, but it was because I was going to start in on him about TJ Altenberger, because he had laughed at me on Twitter back in February that Altenberger would possibly leave for Iowa State, and that's what happened. And then I had a nice conversation. Folks who watch the TV folks, if you don't know who Kevin E is, she's everyone in the media here for the most part is pretty nice. But Kevin E and I we were having a conversation about, she went to the Super Bowl and she said Florida was like just insane. Early February, she's like, you wouldn't even know there was a pandemic. And people were looking at her. People were looking at her as she's doing her stand-up reports wearing a mask, and they're like yelling at her, take off the mask.
Yeah. I'm telling you, I'm seeing girls post on IG. Take off the muzzle and breathe deeply.
Yeah.
I'm going to shake some hands, though, Cofield.
You're ballsier than I am. You are.
Hey. I don't know if it's worth. I was going to say it's worth it. Is it worth it to shake someone's hand? Not really.
No, not really. I think, like, if you don't, they're going to be like, what an asshole, man. Hate this guy. Made a terrible.
No, if anything, when someone goes in to shake your hand and you fist bump, it's kind of a power move. You've kind of quickly asserted your dominance in the situation.
I like it. That's a flex. Gil. Gil making a run at Kevany. Okay. That is a Paul Pierce, Rachel Nichols situation. We are out.
Careful, Cofield.
We're back tomorrow early, 9 o'clock Pacific. Our guy Petro is on. So much to get into. I'm sure there's going to be a lot of college basketball talk and probably get into the almighty Big 12. Gonzaga